Welcome to Buildings of Tomorrow. My name is John Lester, and in this episode we'll be talking about connecting buildings to enable the digital twin. I'm joined today by Markus Winterholler, the product owner of Digital Lifecycle at Siemens Smart Infrastructure. Markus, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again.
Always a pleasure. We've talked a little bit about the digital twin, and obviously it relies heavily on data. How do we connect our buildings so we can leverage the data that they create?
Right, John. Usually we first start with collecting the data that's available. Especially if it's a brownfield building, there are usually 2D plans around, they're already digitalized, usually spread over somebody's laptop, so you have to find somebody and to make sure that he has the allowance to give you the data. So it's really a process where we already from the beginning take care of security of the building. And then we store all the data we have already on a digital lifecycle. So everybody who is involved in this project and has access to the data is then able to see what's already there. And then comes the part where we connect the building to get the data from the sensors. So you have installed technology already there, and you have to make sure you know the network, who's responsible for that. There are different people involved, and they speak different languages, like the network engineer speaks a different language than the building owner. So you have to find the right words. You have to make sure to explain everybody what you're supposed to do with the data and how to collect this data. Then depending on the network and the availability there, we have to install something in the building, like a gateway, right? And the gateway, of course, has to connect to the technical network in the building and then collect the data. So we need to speak the right protocol. We have to know and discover what's built in there, because usually that's not really known. So we have to run a discovery. And then we have to talk to the network engineers to get the building out there.
So even though we're focusing very heavily on data, at the start it's really about people and trying to connect with everyone involved with the building and understand what they do and what they're trying to achieve, so you know where to look.
Exactly. So it's all about people, right? People are creating a building, people are running and operating a building, people are living in a building. So, and they, of course, you have to protect their data. That's their data. That's not our data. Right? So we have to make sure that we make this system secure and that we only collect the data we need for the use cases here. And then also the rights of the people who might be tracked with this data have to be secured and protected. So we usually anonymize our data. So you can't track people. And so this all involves communication and making clear what we are doing. We don't want to do evil, right? We want to help people and create the right applications.
So it's quite involved, just the process of getting access to the right data and ensuring that it's secure and used in the correct manner. This is quite a huge step just at the very start of the process.
Right, yeah. And it really involves not only technology, it's really about finding the right contracts, making sure security measures are in place and people feel comfortable with what we are doing. So it's a lot of interaction with different kind of people, which makes this job so great.
And then once this step is in place, you mentioned quickly before protocols. We've spoken about the digital twin looks at every discipline within a building. Across all those disciplines, there must be many different protocols that you have to deal with.
Right, so there are standards in the construction industry, which helps us a lot. And of course, we as Siemens, we follow all the standards and make sure we support these standards. And we have people with tens of years of experience in this area. So we know all the protocols that are out there. But there are always also new stuff coming on, and it's important to stay up to date there and then to provide the right technology. Because what we've seen in the past is that for every use case, somebody put in some new technology in the building. So they installed new gateways and new devices and then sending the data somewhere, and it's a huge mess. Imagine, John, how long it takes to replace a gateway if you have tons of gateways hanging around.
Yeah, this is not an easy thing, because even though many things are now connected, you still have a huge amount of hardware that enables this connection, correct?
Right, so it's a nightmare for maintenance, and we are trying to consolidate this and then have the data in one place in the digital lifecycle tool we are having here in place to really get an overview of the whole building as a whole, not just for one application, for all the applications, for all the users.
So to build this base like you've described before, you need all of this access, correct? To enable every decision, no matter which part of the building it has to listen to.
Right, so we have to talk to everybody, to all the use cases. We have to make sure we communicate with all these devices, that we are able to be flexible enough to get all this data in one place. So we are not storing everything in one database, for example. We are using a knowledge graph that is linking the data instead of migrating everything in one place, which is
a huge amount of work. Right?
Yeah, and it's not possible.
Yeah.
So we are linking instead the data, getting it connected together, and then are able to query all this data together no matter where it is.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for joining us on Buildings of Tomorrow. Please feel free to comment, like, or share this episode, and also subscribe to us here on this channel. We'll see you again soon.